Aloha, guys. This is Jounee with Chloe Filmmaking Studio, also Beyond the Gloves podcast. This is our first episode of Beyond the Gloves, and I just wanted to welcome our first two guests on the show. First guest coming out of Big Island, Hawaii. His company name is HiTicketFilms, and he's a wedding videographer. This guy, I'm super excited to have him on the show. He is a hammer when it comes to films and just, doing his thing. And then I also want to introduce Journey Love, or Jounee Vvanderlust. Her company name is JourneeLoveCreative, and she's out of Cambridge, Ohio. And if you guys need a photographer, she is the person to go to. She has been in the industry for 12 years, and I couldn't be more happy to have her on the show. So
props.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for being on the show.
No, thank you. Thank you for having us.
Yeah. So tell me, Kekai, how's been the struggle with filming in the islands compared to mainland?
It's a good question. I feel like, personally, in my experience, thank you for having us. And I feel like in my experience, island mentality as opposed to the mainland mentality, a lot of the things in Hawaii, where I'm from, I'm from Kona, Kailua Kona on the Big Island. And, it's a huge shout out to a lot of the boys that kind of set the groundwork and the precedent for what makes creators from Hawaii, Kona, Big Island, all the way to Kauai. What makes it what it is. It's a very special clique, super special hui to be a part of. And a lot of the things where I'm from is if you know, you know.
Yeah,
so
sure.
There's a lot of creators that are really prominent in that space, to the point where they've, like, everybody knows who these guys are. Yeah. And those are the kind of guys that I like to look up to. Shout out to Prime Footage and Toy Monkey. If you know, you know. All the boys, Valen.
And how long have you been filming weddings?
I've only been filming weddings for around 9 months, actually.
9 months.
I started doing it professionally in February of 2020. Started as a real estate videographer, and then I slowly transitioned to weddings because I just wanted to start building this storytelling aspect of my craft, my personal craft, and wanted to build that wanted to expand my brand and wanted to become just a little bit more exciting to whoever's following me. Let them know that I actually do work really hard. A lot of videographers that work very hard to work at their craft, both the artistry and the business side of how to get their work out there and try and make it as unique and as special for their clients or whomever they're working for. So shout out to the people that actually put in all the hard work, 10, 12, 14, 16 hours a day.
Yeah, and you've only been in the business for 9 months, and you definitely made an impact already. Like, I see your ads everywhere.
Thanks.
And you're constantly commenting. You're doing the grind, and I see all your wedding films on your Instagram, and you got a lot of like big ballers on your films.
That I feel like that one kind of came with when you work at I joined a few mentorship programs, actually, in order to help me with the business side. Kind of like I mentioned before, a lot of creators in Hawaii is a lot of if you know, you know. And so when you know that person, whether it's a friend or a family member, you do a lot of things that you do it for peanuts, do it for free, just because you want to see that person get the exposure that you feel like they deserve. And you do video for baby showers, certain events, memorials. Everybody in my town pretty much knows everybody. So when you're a creator, if you're doing anything outside of Kona town, everybody knows that you're doing that, and maybe they reach out to you and maybe they need your help. So automatically, because if you know kind of town, you just you do that. Everybody knows everybody. Pretty much your reputation and your aloha for everybody, and how you hold yourself and how you treat people is the main currency in Kona town. So when you start trying to push the envelope and upgrade from doing it for peanuts all the way to destination wedding destinations, then you start to increase your own personal brand, your own personal your value towards the kind of demographic that you want to try to attract in your hometown, abroad, nationally, and hopefully in the near future internationally.
Yeah, man. And have you filmed any destination weddings yet so far?
I just filmed one. It was for Kaloi Filmmaking Studios.
Yeah.
Kind of the first time to film a destination wedding in Tucson, Washington. It was my first time going across the nation all the way to the mainland to film a destination wedding for a couple that actually lived that Tucson lifestyle. It's really laid back. You know what Tucson is all about. There's no reception in Tucson.
Yeah, I saw the snippets on your Instagram. The guys doing the donuts around the couple.
Donuts.
That was
straight country. You know anything about Tucson? I do now. Well, then they get down, they get wild, and it's fun to be around those kind of people. It just reminds me of home just a tiny bit.
Yeah. And Journey, how long have you been you've been doing this for 12 years, right?
12 years, yes.
Yeah. And what got you into photography?
So what originally got me into photography is I like to design clothing.
Yeah.
And so instead of hiring a photographer to take photos of my pieces, I was like, I used to model and I can pretty much figure it out. So I just bought a camera, started taking like photos of models in my clothing. And that led to like my friends and family being like, oh, you have a camera? Oh, you're a photographer? Oh, can you do our photos? And so like for a year I was just doing like fun stuff. And then I had like my first wedding inquiry. And I was like, it was like a backyard wedding. I was like, I have never done a wedding before. Like I can promise you nothing.
Yeah.
And literally from the very first wedding on, I was hooked. Like I love weddings. I'm completely beyond obsessed with them. And it just fell into my lap. Like, I had no experience. I taught myself everything from watching like creative lives and joining mentorships and watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Just kind of let it grow over the years.
What's probably been your funnest wedding that you've filmed so far?
Oh my gosh. Oh, I have so many.
Out of the 12 years, which one stands out?
As funnest or just like probably my favorite?
Your favorite. We'll do your favorite.
So my favorite was in Mexico. You were with me. Yep. Jess and Kevin. They were absolutely wonderful. Filmed multiple days for them. They took me on a catamaran and like just got to get that like awesome like BTS of just their whole community that they have around them. And they just invited us in. Like, you and Sierra like felt it like we were part of like their friends. Like we weren't just hired vendors. It was like they were checking up on us, and they were just all about like making sure everyone had a good time, vendors included. And that's just one that I will never forget, because the way we were treated was just beyond amazing. And they have been so wonderful, even up to, messaging her here like a week or so ago. She's just always like, oh, we love you so much. You're stuck with me forever.
Yeah. She's always liking my posts and stuff.
Yeah. And they just went into business. I just saw her. Yeah. She just posted on her story. They're doing like a mobile bar.
No way.
Yeah, so I'm super stoked to like share her stuff, and
we're gonna have to help her out with that mobile bar.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
But yeah, that's probably been in 12 years is probably hands down my favorite one.
Yeah, I think out of all the weddings, the ones that we did in Cancun were probably my favorite, just because we got to travel, and I haven't been anywhere other than like Washington. So for like weddings, I mean, we started traveling this year for the first time, and like, you know, going to San Diego, and finally got to do one in Tennessee, and then the one we did in Cancun was the first one I finally got to go out of the country, and I've never been out of the country. So
that's a whole experience in its own too. Just like trying to navigate. Luckily, Mexico has that like understanding with the US. You don't have to worry about your work visas and stuff. So I could not imagine like doing one like over in Europe or something where you have to go through all of that like application and stuff.
Yeah.
But Mexico's where it's at anyway. That's where you want to be.
I still want to do weddings in Europe.
In Europe?
Oh, I'm coming.
Yeah,
I'm coming.
Which place in Europe?
My top pick right now would definitely be Villa Balbiana on Lake Como.
All
the big boys do it. It's like one of those. I feel like there's one of those stripes. You film it Villa Balbiano, then that's when you know you become like. I guess you made it, but then you become one of those destination wedding videographers willing to go that far for it.
Yeah, I think anything in Europe, really. Like if you have
Paris, France, I'm coming there too.
Paris, France.
just group trip. Let's just go.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. So, out of like all the, you know, what's probably been like your guys' biggest challenge in the wedding industry? Like, what do you guys think?
For me, photography wise, is market saturation, because anyone with a camera these days is a photographer, and it's all undercutting. Like it is a race to the bottom a lot of the times, as far as like someone will be like, oh, my budget's $2,000. You're like, well, hey, like my packages, I've got one that's $2,000, and then you got 20 people below you. They're like, I'll do it for $500. I'll do it for $600. And it's just like getting couples that value you and your work enough to pay the actual price that, first of all, they said was their budget, and instead of just shopping for that deal. And I'm a deal shopper. Like I like a good deal. Like I want cheap stuff, but it's always somebody like undercutting you all the time.
You get what you pay for.
Yeah.
If anybody else is why you get what you pay for. So like I feel like, and we've touched upon this a couple of times, I guess amongst each other, it's like you set your price to the price that it is, because you know that, well, one, you put in the hard work, two, you've got a good portfolio, three, you're reputable, and you know, when you market yourself properly and you know how to treat your clients on top of all of that, besides balancing both the artistry and the business side, it's just one of those things where how do you stand out now? So
and with me, I think what I really try to focus on as far as like marketing goes is like you said, Journey, everyone has a camera. Everyone is out there posting their content and, you know, trying to get to the top and book as much weddings as they can. And I was like, how do I compete with this? I'm a nobody from that started doing YouTube vlogs with my daughter. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to jump into this wedding industry. And I didn't know what I was jumping into until, you know, I joined the mentorship program. And then I really saw like, wow, like there's thousands of talent. There's so much talent. Mm-hmm. And I was like, it's overwhelming, because you don't know where you stand, and you're trying to keep your confidence, and you want to keep that work ethic. That way you can book those brides. And I really try to focus on like marketing myself. And
I agree to that 100%. You sell your passion, sell your talent.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just they got to connect with you, and you're crushing it. Like you have
you are
killed it this year.
It was a good year. but I'm tired. But I couldn't have done it without you guys. You know,
Thanks.
for me, like I put in a lot of work, but it takes a village. You know, like
100% takes a village.
I couldn't, like, the amount of time that we've bounced off ideas off of each other, and you know, whenever I needed you or you needed me, we're always there for each other, and it was a team effort. Even though we've got all different companies and we're doing our own thing, you know, being able to reach out and be like, hey man, like, how did you edit that? Or like, how did you put that ceremony together like that? You know, like the fact that we have that relationship to be able to ask, because that
it's like a community, not a competition. And I wish that more people in the industry had that mindset, because it has been awesome collabing with all of you guys and just like learning new things from each other. And
there's always something new to learn. I feel like, you know, it's like the only thing you should be worrying about, at least for me in my head, is just like how much better you can be from the last time you did something.
Your growth, your own growth.
Yeah.
And then if you have a blueprint, or if you got some place that you want to be and you know somebody that's already there, maybe they're willing to share with you some things or some tips, or maybe a colleague or a coworker that's on the same path that's just parallel towards you. They know something that you don't. Ask good questions. They'll give you something out of for nothing, and you give them something maybe they didn't know at the time either. And it's just that constant growth is definitely important towards being relevant in this industry too. Because you gotta constantly grow. Things are happening so fast. You gotta get noticed one way or another, and at the same time you gotta just be you.
And adding value.
Value.
Because I put in a lot of work, but at the same time I tried to put out as much like helping people, you know, because the amount of hours that people ask me for, like, you know, the funnels or automations or whatever, like I put in so many hours when people ask me for that kind of help. And,
I love funnels.
I hate funnels. If anyone knows what funnels are, they suck.
I tried them for like a minute. It's like, nope, not for me. Goodbye.
I can do them. I'm just not good at it.
Yet.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm not good at it yet. But I will be.
You get there.
Yeah. So what are your guys' plans and like aspirations like in the future for, as far as like your company, where you guys want to go from now? Is are weddings your end game? You guys want to stay in the wedding industry? Like, what's the long game?
I feel like when you get into the wedding industry, especially in the video space, you're going to be thrown into the storytelling aspect of video, storytelling 101. How to tell a proper story, how to introduce characters, how to give away or subtly give away their wants or what they want, their desires, and who they are as people. And especially in a love story that's so intimate, you got to make sure that you do their love story justice, as well as just delivering an edit that is easy to watch, enjoyable, interesting, engaging. You know, you gotta bring something good to the table. The end game for me, not sure if it's weddings, but I definitely want to be at a higher tier than what I am now. And I feel like I'm going in that direction correctly, and definitely putting in a lot of work to be there. But the end game, I feel like for me, is telling our stories mo'olelo from Kanaka Maoli, for Kanaka Maoli, by Hawaiians, for Hawaiians.
Yeah.
And telling those stories in a way that makes sense for both Kanaka and both, Malihini, that visit the islands and have no idea what they're about to get themselves into. So when they hear our stories from an actual Hawaiian's perspective, then they get a better sense of how to treat each other, whether they occupy the land or not. So that's definitely a huge challenge, which is why a lot of people in the video space where I'm from is, if you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
If you know, you know. A lot of times where I'm from, Aloha is mistaken for some kind of deficiency or some kind of weakness. And at the same time, we are in an industry that is dominated by people who are not Kanaka Maoli. So we have to learn how to not just play that game, but be proficient enough to tell stories that make sense to us and relate to us as a people. So that way we can spread our culture and our words and our stories to the world from a perspective that is actually accurate, as opposed to just
nonsense.
Right.
So weddings are definitely my end game. Maybe not necessarily in the photo video side of it, because it is really taxing on your body. And the older I get, the harder it is to recover the next day.
Yeah.
And I actually did a wedding a couple of weeks ago, and there's an older gentleman. I mean, he was to the point, he was sitting in a chair most of the day, and he's still knocking them out and booking weddings and being a photographer. And I was like, that's cool, but I don't want to be that 70-year-old woman that the 20-year-old couple's hiring.
He was in a wheelchair?
He wasn't in a wheelchair. He was just sitting most of the day just because he's older, and it's just hard on your body. So I'm keeping that in my conscience. I know that my body's going to break down, and it's going to be harder and harder to actually put in 100% of me into those days. But I would love to stay in the wedding industry. And so my ultimate goal, long term, is I want my own venue.
That would be so cool.
Because I'm having a photographer's eye and just being able to know every little detail, from the light switches on the wall, being able to mask them so you don't have to edit that crap out at the end of the day, or the way your lighting comes in your windows and stuff. I think being able to build my own venue someday.
No more crappy reception lights.
Yes.
Venue in Ohio?
Oh God, no. Get me out of Ohio ASAP.
Venue in Europe?
No, probably not. I mean, I'd probably stay in the States, but
just for your kids.
Well, for my kids and just laws and politics and things. I don't know. I know what to expect in the U.S. I don't know what to expect somewhere else. I'm breaking the law and not knowing it.
Yeah.
No, somewhere scenic, somewhere that's can be in the wedding year round, because Ohio, you've got 6 months. Your season's 6 months, and so I'd want.
It's more cold in Ohio, right? It's cold most of the time.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking October to. I mean, we've even had snow in April, so I'm October to April is not ideal for weddings outside. I mean, you can do indoor weddings, but we also have few really, really nice venues.
Yeah.
Everything's a barn over there. But, no, I mean, they have some other ones, but
I think you'd be great with a venue. You're already a great.
And then I'm going to hire your wife to be my in-house planner for my venue.
Hey, let's do it. We'll team up.
Yeah, that's end game for me though. I want a venue.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Let's switch it up. What's your guys' worst client? No names.
Any details I give, they're gonna know exactly who they are.
Gonna have to bleep this one out.
Let's just say I accepted
or we can make it broader. We can say,
well, I can give broad details and not give it away.
Okay.
But
I'm not trying to put anyone on blast.
I am a person who, like I said, I'm a deal shopper myself. And so I understand when people have budgets and they have low budgets. And I'm also I like to help people. I would shoot every wedding. If I didn't have to put food on my table and like raise 3 kids, I would shoot every wedding for free because I love it. So there was a couple, and they had a very, very low budget. They wanted photo and video. And I've tandem shot before where I've pulled off both, like with just like a highlight film. And I was very upfront about like what I could provide for that budget, and trying to be able to do both. And there was a weather disaster on my way down, which already caused me like a lot of stress going through it. But I was like, you know, not really gonna let that affect much. Do my best. There was a lot of issues with the venue lighting. You want to talk about pitch black venue?
Oh yeah.
With little blue lights. That was it. There was
terrible.
no natural light coming through. I spent like 20 minutes with the DJ on the lighting to be able, because I brought lights with me and I was told I couldn't set them up. And so worked with the DJ for 20 minutes being like, this is the lighting we need. Like you can't have too much blue or purple because you're casting like, they're not trying to be Smurfs on their wedding video.
Yeah.
And so like we got it. It was going to look good. Right as the music came on, lights down, black with blue. And so I had, I actually brought an assistant. It was just supposed to be me, and I ended up bringing an assistant with me just to be able to like cover more. And so I had her running video, and I was running photo, and I had my flash on. You know, flash goes off. It can only go so far. You can't bounce it, you know, off of black walls. And so it was just a mess. Now, like, what I gave, I was only supposed to give raw footage. They wanted nothing edited. So that's what I gave. And every single thing happened to be the biggest issue. Like, I took getting ready photos. Apparently she didn't want any getting ready photos, and that was like a big, huge, like I got a big long review posted about how horrible I was because I did like getting ready photos and there was a pitch black venue, and it was just like so many things just fell apart. So many things fell apart. And it was just like to the point, like I was so stressed out and like crying over like how mean this person was to me over things that were completely out of my control. And I sent my photos and videos off for critique from other people, and they're like, no, like what you got's like, you got what you could within your limitations and with your skills. And it was like they had plenty of photos and plenty of video to.
I think you sent me those.
Probably.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they were all right.
Yeah,
I've
they
never
weren't.
seen
I mean, they
bad
weren't my
ones.
best because I do more light and airy things, and you can't do that in pitch black with no like lighting. But what I got, you know, someone could look back on their wedding and their full wedding's documented. Like all the key moments are documented. It might not be the exact framing that she wanted to have or the, you know, exact brightness that she wanted to have, but like
You
so
have
your
to
memories.
work with what you have, and
I was paid $650 to go out of state for photo and video. I refunded half of that.
Wow.
And still gave them all their stuff, and it was just been a nightmare and just attacks like from them. I'll never do another budget wedding, let me tell you. Like as much as I love doing stuff for free.
I'm sorry, low budget brides. Like if you got a low budget,
then don't have expectations for a $5,000
just wait.
production.
This is all I could say.
Exactly.
It's just wait. Wait till you have a bigger budget.
Or just, you know, lower, like don't expect a $5,000 production.
Yeah.
Like I'm not going to bring a full team and a full setup when the budget didn't even like cover my travel round trip. Like, and it sucked because I really, really connected with this person, like off of the fact of just being like a vendor that was getting hired. Like there was a lot of personal life things and politic things and religion things that we really connected deeply on. And it was like losing that connection over the experience. It was just really like bummed me out because I really like being friends with my clients after the fact. I love following their stories and seeing their families grow. And so it's just like bums you out when someone is that upset over things you can't control, when, you know, you try to like do right, or like I
Do
said,
your
like
best.
I gave half their money back because she wasn't satisfied. And
what would
it was
you
just
tell
like-
couples when they're looking for a vendor if they have a low budget? Like, what would you tell them to help them manage their expectations?
Honestly, if their budget's that low, they just need to get students and people who are portfolio building.
Yeah.
They as much money as we on the back end have running a business, we're not doing ourselves any justice to literally pay out of pocket to do someone's wedding. Like we can't maintain our lives, we can't maintain our businesses doing that. So if their budgets are going to be that low, they just need to look at students, people who haven't like fully formed companies yet, that don't own $30,000 worth of gear.
Yeah, like-
You know,
Literally, when I show up to a wedding, I got like $50K
yeah,
Worth of stuff
worth of stuff.
yeah.
inside of one case.
And it's nothing
1-2
against
cases.
them as being like, I know we all have budgets, but everybody has a budget. Even people who have a $50,000 wedding budget have a budget. And it's not that we're like trying to be like looking down on like, oh, I don't want to do your wedding because it's so cheap. But we cannot maintain. Like, I'm on the verge of just being like I just can't do it anymore.
This is why one of those like we asked that question, and I'm sure it's in a lot of people's questionnaires, like, or personal wedding questionnaires, when you're consulting a client, like, why don't you just have your cousin catch it with an iPhone?
Yeah.
And the answer to that is pretty obvious. Well, yeah, it's gonna suck. Clearly, he's gonna be there, and his payment is gonna be whatever you feed him that day.
I mean, I take payment in food sometimes too.
Me too. I mean, good
That's
food.
my tip.
But the reason why you pay us more than your cousin is because we actually have the credentials, the experience, the gear, the lighting, and the network to pull something off that's within a higher range, higher tier video, other than just an iPhone video with the worst audio, no context to this story. And as lovely as that would be for somebody who really cares about that person that's capturing with that sort of camera, whatever camera you're working with, it's just not the same. That person's going to relive that video and relive that moment for the rest of their lives, hopefully. And that's why you hire professionals or a professional team to capture that day. You want professional content. You want that memory encapsulated in time for however long you're married, which hopefully is forever.
Yeah. Well, what tip would you give to a couple, Kekai, for if they have a lower budget?
Tips that I give to low budget brides. Well, one is when I'm consulting them, I have my initial consultation with them, and I ask them their budget. If their budget is below, in my range, around $3,000. If their budget is below that, I would ask them, well, what do you really want captured?
Yeah.
How many hours of coverage do you actually need? When they see my work and they see that I can actually go for 8 to 12 hours and they want that, well, I say that these are my prices.
Mm-hmm.
These are my prices. They're already set. It's because I've already established that value within my demographic, with my portfolio, with my clientele. And because of that, and because of my experience, and because of where I'm willing to go as far as weddings are concerned, whether it's on a different island or even in a different state.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be within that low budget. You're just not going to get that high quality video service for that low. There's just no way. So when it comes to a low budget bride, I have a few suggestions. I can either suggest them to somebody who's willing to do that, and then they'll probably remember you for that. Even though I had a low budget, he was still willing to work with us. I recommend somebody who's willing to do it at that budget.
Yeah.
And in that regard, if that recommendation is somebody that I personally believe in and can co-sign, then that person will get the experience that he or she is looking for if they haven't been too well off booking brides in general. So that would be my initial recommendation for a low budget bride.
Yeah, and I think for me, my tip would be to look in your like inner circle, your friends and family, who has a camera and is looking for portfolio work. Because like for me, when I first started, I didn't know anything about like what I know now when I first compared to when I first started and I did my first wedding. I didn't have tripods. I didn't have lavalier mics. I had a Rode mic. I did think about that, but I only had one camera and I filmed everything on that one camera. And I reached out to my wife's sister. She was getting married and she didn't have a videographer. She wasn't going to get one. And I just begged her. I was like, can I film your wedding? Like, you know, for free. You don't have to pay me anything. I'm just trying to do this and start off doing something. And she was like, I don't really know. And my wife convinced her. She's like, oh, just let him do it. He won't like bother you or bother the photographer. Like, I'll just be a fly on the wall. And I smashed that wedding. Like I was doing it like as if my life depended on it. Because I was like, I've never done a wedding before, and I want to make sure I'm a perfectionist and I want to do things right. And so I went into it and I just was like, from the morning they woke up to when they left, I was there filming like every single bit of it, like 6 a.m. till midnight. Like when they did the send off, I was filming all of it. And that wedding video ended up being my best video for a long time. Like I did that video and then I did another free one for my sister's or my wife's friend. And then I did another one when I got booked as a second videographer and I was able to use that on my portfolio. So yeah, my tip would just be if you have a low budget and you're trying to find someone to capture your day, whether photography or videography, look in your inner circle because you'd be surprised who has a camera and is trying to get into the industry, because that was me.
Me too.
Yeah. And you'd be surprised there. I mean, there's some that will just completely bomb. But there's like, when I first started like 12 years ago, I might have had like a year or two in, and one of my best friends, her cousin was a high school senior, and she just had like a Sony, like, I don't know, something. And she liked doing photos for fun. And my friend was like, hey, you know, can you bring Cheyenne like in as a second shooter sometimes? Like give her some experience. I was like, yeah, dude, she crushed it. Like for having no experience and being a high school senior, like, and she shoots now all the time, like not as her primary job, but like as a second shooter for a lot of different photographers around. Like she is killing it. But like that was, you know, instances like that. Yeah, you find somebody that's just got that like passion and like eye, just got that eye, and
get the bug after.
Yeah, like you could still end up with some really good stuff. Like having a beginner. We all started somewhere, you know.
Yeah, and then I guess that leads us to our next topic. You know, we were all, you know, nobodies when we first started. What would you guys give as advice to someone who's just starting up, to like, you know, from where we're all at? I mean, we're all kind of experienced veterans in the wedding industry now. I feel like, what do you guys think? What would you tell someone just starting out now?
Be humble, because there was the first couple years in, I got a little like stick up my butt and thought like I was like the shit, you know, like sorry for my language. No, I thought, and I wasn't wanting to listen and I wasn't wanting to learn from others because I thought everyone was my like competition and nobody wanted to help me, you know. So be humble, be willing to listen and learn, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to reach out to the people that you idolize and see, like most of them it's a community, should, you know, be willing to like take you under their wing for a little bit. Obviously we don't have a lot of time in the world to be like training them all the time, but just be open to learning and growing, and don't think you're everything just because you've been like,
same.
Yeah.
I want to co-sign that. There's always something new to learn, especially in this industry when it comes, whether it's the artistry of it, whether it's how many cams you bring, your travel setup, your local setup, constantly seeking out the right education to learn how to better yourself at your craft on both the artist side and the business side. I think there's a lot to look up to because there's so many big names that have done it before, and if you want what they got, then you got to go seek out the right education, go seek out the game. And if you want to get there fast, then you better be humble and listen to what they got to say and just adapt all that foundational knowledge to your style. You know, who are you? There's a lot of basics and a lot of unknown and unspoken basics and foundational information that you can use to your advantage that these guys or these people or these professionals, these higher tier professionals are willing to give you. Sometimes you got to pay to play. But if you really want to get there fast and be past people who are just trying to do it by themselves because they feel like it's them against the world, that they feel like, you know, you're their competition, then they're going to stay still while you're going to be growing because you're constantly pushing yourself, pushing the envelope and trying to be in a place where it's just better than where you once were, you know. So I feel like you should let your work speak for itself. You should let your reputation speak volumes. Your clients will talk highly of you when you treat them right and deliver on time and treat their family with respect. You know, all their friends with respect. Their bridal party, their wedding party with love and aloha. And you know, that's a big unspoken part of the game. Just like a lot of that stuff is just how you treat yourself, how you treat people, and what you're willing to do to go and learn what you got to go learn.
Yeah, for sure. And when I guess what I would tell someone who's just starting out and just getting into this is, like you guys said, be humble, conduct yourself in a way that isn't arrogant, isn't, you know, me against the world, because there's enough bread for all of us to eat.
100.
And it takes a village. And, you know, when I first started, I was just like, man, what can I do to help anyone else? Like, do you need marketing content? Do you need pictures? Hey, do you want to do this for free? I'll do something for free. You know, I just need experience. Whatever you need. I was always in a giving mindset mentality, but at the same time, I had a goal and I had an objective, and I needed to reach that objective. And I put in the time. And that's another thing. If you're planning on getting into the wedding industry, be prepared, because it's not easy by no means, but it's definitely doable. And you can definitely be somewhere in a year. I mean,
Yeah.
Look how both of you guys, like,
and in my first 8 months of doing this professionally, I did my first 6-figure year. And, you know, it's nothing to brag. I put in that work.
Oh, yeah.
And if anyone tells me, oh, you're flaunting your money, it's like, I didn't really make a whole lot of money. On paper I did.
yeah.
But people, that's another
You
thing.
reinvested it
Until
into your
I'm
business.
a millionaire, I didn't really make a whole lot. So, but yeah, no, I put in the work. I put in the time. There's going to be plenty of candle burner nights where you're staying up till 2, 3 a.m.
Nobody sees that.
Yeah.
No,
You're
one
skipping
sees
things with your kids
No.
and your family to grind and advertise and edit, and yeah,
That's another thing. Nobody sees
the back end.
the lonely nights. Nobody sees the cups of coffee. Nobody sees the amount of books you have to read, or the amount of
Falling asleep on your computer
YouTube
because you
videos.
just can't go anymore.
Nobody sees any of that. That's all behind the scenes. Is something that we don't talk about too often, but that's one of the things that real professionals, when you see their work and when you see that, like, oh, and people ask you, how did you do that? Say hours upon hours upon hours of stuff that you just don't see.
Yeah.
It's all behind the scenes. It's all groundwork and grinding the axe to be just a tiny percentage better.
I mean, you think about like color grading or like fancy edits or like, I mean, the stuff that I share to you guys or the things you guys share to me. It's like I would have to stay up all night figuring out how to do this correctly, or you know, learning a new skill.
And it's a lot of trial and error, and a lot of times you try it and it just does not work.
It does not sometimes.
You're like,
You're gonna disappoint yourself a lot.
oh yeah.
You're gonna be your own worst critic. But you're also gonna push yourself to grow past that.
You're talking the mic.
You're gonna be your own worst critic, and you're also gonna push yourself to push past that.
Yeah,
I think that's what I said.
Yeah,
Nah, we
something
got
like that. Like, don't ask me to repeat it. It's just gonna.
Please don't ask me to repeat it.
No, I won't. So out of all your guys' gear, what do you guys think is what's your most valued part of your gear?
What's my most valued part of my gear? My Canon 1DX Mark III.
Canon 1DX Mark III.
My Canon.
How much was that?
I bought it for $44 at a time when it was worth around $6, and a week after I bought it, it was worth $32. So I was pissed.
Journey, don't you have one of those?
I don't have a 1DX. No.
Just the ERs?
I have the R, and then I have the 60 Mark II.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not baller like that. I can't afford a 1DX.
It's a beast.
I do weddings for under like $1,000 a lot of the times. I can't afford a 1DX.
I saw that was the one you were shooting with. At the mountains, right?
Yeah, I saw that today. I was drooling a little bit.
I was like, damn.
I love that we're all Canon shooters too.
I love that too. Straight out of Canon.
We got Sony all against us.
Hey, you know how you said you wanted to leave some tripods here?
Mm-hmm.
You can leave that 1DX here too.
No, thank you.
I'm just joking.
I mean, is it gonna be in your bag when I pick you up tomorrow? Just leave it in my car.
Yeah.
Oh, I got locks and zip ties. Please don't steal my shit.
I give it back. It's
No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, you know where I live.
It's a beautiful camera. I'm just saying.
I think that I mean a lot of the reason why I chose that camera, a little bit off topic. I chose that one because it's versatile enough to be almost like a cinema camera, but it's also out of cam footage, whatever color profile that you're shooting with. If you're a Canon shooter, it's really sharp, and Canon glass is just the way to go for any Canon camera, because that's what it's meant for. But the 1DX Mark III is a super versatile camera that a lot of my idols use, whether it's a 1DX Mark II, Mark III, or if they switch to the mirrorless series in the R5, R6 cinema range. So that's where I kind of get my style from a lot of influences, like guys like Jake Weisler. It's another favorite videographer of mine. I met him actually. Borrowed light stands from me for a wedding in Kona because he didn't bring his own. I hope you watch this. And
sounds like someone I know.
Well, who was that? Who was that?
I don't know, bro.
You need me to rent some more light stands? Or no, light stands, no tripods.
Nah, I know.
Rent some tripods.
That's an inside joke, guys. That wasn't his fault. The airport messed up where his bags were.
I feel like It just depends on your flavor. Whatever style you want to shoot in, or whatever you're
You guys thought about going like the cinema route, like cinema camera route?
Yeah, definitely.
No.
Well, I know you.
It just don't make sense for me doing mostly photo.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but they are beautiful. Oh my gosh, the one. Oh.
I feel I've thought about it. You know, a lot of my videographer colleagues back in Hawaii want to shoot with either black magic or red, just to get those cinematic colors. I like to focus on the story, but I've also thought about, like, if I do decide to immerse myself in the color grading world, in order to get those colors, you know, in order to try and speak that language as well. You know, certain colors portray different emotions, and depending on top of your color grade or your shooting style, you can actually accurately portray what you want to say on a video.
Yeah.
And so red seems to be the most popular choice. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe a C70, Canon C70 with some cinema glass.
Oh, like the anamorphic lenses?
Probably the Soroy lenses, Soroy primes.
Those are like the 10 grand kit lenses.
Yep.
Yeah,
you gotta bump that those rates prices up a little bit.
Soon.
Yeah. You see, guys, this is why, like, when he's like 10K to film your wedding, it's because his like one lens was 10K. Okay? Mm-hmm. And if, you know, guest gets drunk and knocks it over and breaks it,
that's gonna be one.
Then I'm quoting you. I'm quoting
in
you.
The contract. You are liable.
Oh, that's definitely. Contracts are huge. You'll expect. This is what you can expect from us, and this is what we expect from you, as far as treating us or feeding us. Or when it comes down to when you sign the contract, this is the kind of quality you're gonna get from a real professional. So that's the point of signing those contracts. Protect you, protect ourselves.
Yeah, I guess here's one. What would you guys tell a couple about finding a good vendor? How would you help a couple find a good vendor if they're looking for a photographer or videographer?
I definitely have had to work with them before. Like, it's so hard to refer someone you've not actually, even like just following them on social media and stuff, like to actually work with them and see their workflow of the day and their personality. Because there's some people that are just, their personalities are so off-putting and like they don't make you comfortable
at all.
So if I am recommending someone, it is because I have personally either worked with them or spent time in their presence, like to know how they are and how they treat people, how they talk.
Because that's a real strong cosign too. If you're a force in your community or inside of your particular demographic that you're servicing also, and you co-sign that person, then they take on a little bit of, you know, your name as well. It's like, oh, this person co-signed them, so they must be who they say they are. Yeah. So it's definitely a lot of power behind co-signs.
It's hard referring people, because if that person you refer really screws up, that's gonna come back on you too. Like if you booked, like I booked the photography and someone said, oh, can you refer an efficient, and then that efficient doesn't even show up or something, like they're gonna hold that against me. Or, you know, like, oh, can you,
I didn't know there could be a bad efficient till I saw one. I thought that was like an easy job.
I'm ordained, okay? So Universal Life Church, anybody can be ordained. Doesn't mean they need to be.
It doesn't mean you can. Doesn't mean you should be one.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, it's referring people definitely, because it'd be somebody I would hire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be somebody I'd feel comfortable letting that couple know that they're legitimate. Mm-hmm. There's so many behind the scene things that go on in the videography space that I feel like, when you do recommend somebody, it's somebody that should align with your values too. You met them, like she said, they got a good workflow. There's somebody that can deliver on time and somebody that can add value to that couple, and they're there. So that would be something that I would highly recommend to look for in a vendor that you recommend.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I always do consult calls with my clients. And it's because I don't want to work with people that I don't get along with. I don't care if you give me a $20,000 check. If you're a dick, I'm not gonna work with you.
Yeah.
And
Right.
And I think that should be how couples go into booking a good vendor, is making sure that they're connecting with them more, not just so much on their work, but on their personality. And also like their morals. If you can see, you know, if they're a good father, are they a good mom? Are they a good friend? You know, you can't really tell all that, you know, when you're looking at vendors' websites and stuff. But I mean, you can kind of get a little piece of it on their, you know, Instagram, or if you meet them in person, you know, just feeling out that vibe.
Yeah.
And,
I always encourage couples to follow my personal Facebook.
Yeah.
Like, so you can see who I am, because I am so transparent. Like, you can see if you're going to like me.
Yeah, I mean, just like on my TikTok and my Instagram and my Facebook, I post. I promote this. It's not my portfolio. My Instagram is mine. It's me.
Yeah.
I mean, I market like Instagram or wedding stuff, but I want to be me when people look on that page.
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of other people's pages and they just nothing but their work, but nothing about them. And there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not how I want to portray my business. I want people to.
You don't want it to feel stuffy and just all business, because especially in the wedding industry, it's not all business. It's one of the most personal things that they're inviting you in as part of their life. Like, you gotta connect they have to connect with their vendors on a personal level when it's your wedding, because you want that person to care. It's not a business transaction. It's not you cut me a check. Like, you want them to care.
Yeah. Like there's fights about it on Facebook groups about
who
they're going to invite or not. So yeah, definitely make sure, you know, whoever you guys choose when you're looking for a wedding vendor, to just be you and get along with the vendor, because they're going to be with you all day on your wedding day. And if you guys don't get along, it's going to make a huge difference. Oh yeah. Like someone if you're already not comfortable in front of a camera, imagine being in front of a camera with someone you don't like. Yeah. It's definitely going to show in your photos, and you don't want that.
Yeah. And then you're going to be on Facebook like 3 months down the road. Can anyone do like a wedding portrait shoot for us, a redo, because we don't like our images?
Yeah.
And then you can call me, because I'm cool.
Yeah.
So that means I definitely need to post more personal stuff on my IG. That's what.
I mean, it's nice to get to like. Hey, I've hung out with you for a couple days now. Like, you're a cool dude. So like, like you wouldn't know that if it was all business, all business all the time.
Thanks for that.
And that's why I said if you do that, it's still okay, because I mean you're in Hawaii, so things are a little bit different.
Yeah.
And when you're reaching out with couples, you're in a very tight knit circle.
Yeah, that tight knit circle, at least, and I'm sure it's a lot like that. And this is a little bit more not personal, but I'm sure it's a lot like that in a lot of small areas and tight spots where just you don't want to be that guy that's all talk. You really do want everything that you perform. You really do want to be known for performing at a high level. Really not proficient at Instagram anyway. I just post stories and just post my work, but
good. You have good work though.
Thanks. Yeah. Thanks for that. But what I post on top of my Instagram and on my social media profile is there because I want to attract a certain demographic that is that likes my style. And when I do start to post something that's more personal, a little bit more relatable, I know that they get to know why I'm like that, why I like to work hard, or how hard I actually did work or how much I invested into my own education, all my equipment, into my team, into just certain things that they haven't seen for the last 4 years that I've been doing this. Just like you two, behind closed doors, you're the only one that knows just how hard you worked to get where you wanted to go. Besides your small circle, and it's a big part. Just how much are you willing to push yourself to be better than where you was?
Yeah, for sure. Being reliable, being
huge.
It's huge. And in the wedding industry, it makes a huge difference. And with what we do, I don't want to ever have to tell a bride some bad news. So far, I haven't. But,
it's a plus.
Yeah, it's a plus. All right. Well,
I gotta take some L's. If anybody else, you do have to take L's.
Yeah. There's been times. I'm not gonna say who this is, but I did film a wedding, and a learning lesson for me, and this can be used for anyone in the wedding industry. A learning lesson for me was I was filming a wedding, and I bought a really expensive SD card that had a lot of footage or had a lot of gigabytes. So I figured, my gimbal cam, I can just film all day on this one SD card. Easy peasy. I don't need to change my card. And I figured out that if you turn your camera off before you stop recording, you can corrupt files. And I was corrupting files after a certain point in this wedding, near the end, and I lost like 56 clips of their wedding footage.
Ouch.
And that was a big fucking L for me. And I was like, man, I'm never doing that again. And thankfully I was still able to deliver everything that was paid in their package. Still made a highlight video out of it, and it was great. But I had to learn a lesson right then that I have to mitigate risk, and I change my cards now constantly. But the moral of the story is you're gonna run into things in the wedding industry that are gonna be you have to mess up
to learn. And that's where, when couples have the budget to hire someone with the experience, that's why it's important to hire them, because they've already learned those lessons. And when when you have the budget, but you just choose not to spend it, and you just we're just going to go the cheaper route, then you're risking that. You're risking getting someone who hasn't made that mistake yet. And it could be your wedding that they make that mistake on. So yeah, we all have made mistakes, but with the experiences we've learned. We've learned how to prevent them in the future.
Yeah.
That's just wedding day IQ.
Yeah. They need a chart there. So you're on
what's your wedding day IQ?
Exactly. Can we have a questionnaire for that?
From 0 to 100.
Yeah.
Right. Wedding day IQ. If you know the planner.
I've probably made all the mistakes over the 12 years. Probably made all of them.
I'm still learning. Like, one of them is another mistake that I learned. Well, thankfully I had backups, but it was audio. So brides, when you're booking wedding videographers and you're booking cheap ones, ask them how they're recording audio. Do they have backups? Because technology is great until it doesn't work. And I've had a
40% of the time.
Yeah, I mean, like I had a groom, so I mic up the groom and I mic up the officiant, and I also mic'd up the DJ. So I have 3 audio recorders plus all my cameras record audio. So I have a lot of audio backups. Obviously, the best audio is going to come from the lavs or the audio recorder on the DJ. And I had a groom go into the bathroom, take a piss. You can hear it in the audio where he's like pissing and then reaching into his pocket and like fucking with something. And I don't know what he was doing, but he turned the audio recorder off, and everything after that was just not there. The ceremony wasn't there. So I only had the officiant's mic recording and the DJs. Thankfully, I had those two recording, but this is what I'm talking about. Like if couples book budget, vendors that don't have that experience and don't know to have audio backups, and they can think, oh, I'll just throw a Rode mic on the camera and call it pow,
Until it's a windy day and all you can hear in the camera is
yeah, or it turns off, and then you're gonna have to explain to the couple, hey, your vows are gone. Sorry.
I'll be like, by the way, you were getting a music highlight, right?
Yeah, just a straight music, no vows. Thankfully, there are ways around that, brides. So if that has happened to you, you can always do a mock vows afterwards.
Yeah, voiceover.
Voiceovers, but they're not as emotional, so they're not like preferred. But it is an option if anyone is listening to this and wants to get their vows back. You can just,
or even like, if necessarily like the vows weren't necessarily needed, like a voiceover of like saying something you love about your partner, like making it a little bit more so you could get that like emotion and intimacy back, like without having to like re-say your vows. Like, okay, well, why don't we just why don't you say a love note to your partner here, and we'll put that over.
Yeah, like a new one.
Yeah.
I mean,
that could always work,
Just because your vendor has a camera, or just because your videographer has a camera, does not equal good audio.
Yeah.
Not at all. Those two don't add up.
Oh.
Having good audio equipment equals good audio.
Yeah.
And when you have
I know that because I'm a photographer who's tried to do video.
See? Cosign.
Cosign.
Having good audio equipment means good audio. And if you have an experienced videographer who can differentiate the two, not just know that, oh, wow, I got a high-end camera, I must be good. Like, no. If you have good audio equipment, you know how to connect with the DJ, you know how to relate to the groom, the officiant. If you want to mic up the bride and she has a good dress, and you got a white, preferably white lavalier mic, which is depending on the color of her dress, which is almost 99% is going to be white, then you have multiple options to have clean audio in your edit, especially if you're shooting the ceremonies and the toasts, two of the most emotional parts of the day, where they're saying what they want, they're saying what they need to say. Personal vows I love, but they're gonna, if you, like, for example, you miss the personal vows and they're saying it in their ceremony, dude, they're gonna be pissed.
Yeah, they are.
And if you skip a couple hours, you go to the toast, and let's just say somebody who gave a really good toast, maybe it was their dad, really loved family member, God forbid next year they're not here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you miss that, dude, it's terrible. Have good audio, not just a good camera.
Yeah. Oh, here's one. So I have a photographer and a videographer in the room. Which one's better, guys?
Video.
Photo.
No, video. So I had tried getting into video the last year because it's just how things are advancing. Yes, photo is worth 1,000 words, whatever. Is that the saying? I don't know, but
they're
it's
apples
not.
and oranges.
There's something so much more to video. So my dad passed away last year. I don't care how many photos I have of him. The things that I cherish are the videos. It's his voice. It's his mannerisms. It's his smile. Video is everything. It is everything. I'm not very good at it. So that's why I stick to photo. But that's what you need. You need video.
Yeah.
Do a lot of memorials where I'm from. And I get invited to do these memorials in my town because I've done a lot for a lot of well-known Kona people. So when they hire me, then they know that I've done this memorial video for this hometown legend, so to speak. It's like a lot of things where I'm from is if you know, you know. So if you're a experienced videographer and you've done a lot of memorials, then most likely you're gonna be hired to do more. The reason why, just like Journey said, is because, you know, those videos are gonna highlight that person's legacy, their memories, what people thought and how they loved that person, what kind of love did that person show before they left. And, you know, those are the things that really matter at the end of the day. And that's what real video captures, is the essence of that moment, the essence of that person, or in our cases, wedding videographers, the essence of their love story.
Yeah.
And how it came to be.
I wish couples put as much thought and value into their wedding videos. And you have so many, and it's all on Facebook. Oh, you're going to watch that once. You're going to watch it. No, like, video it's just where.
I just wish people would get on board with thinking photo and video are at least equal. Because I know all brides are looking for photographers. And videographer seems like
it's a second thought.
I'll get it, maybe.
Yeah, if the budget allows at the end. You always see like, oh, my wedding's in a month, anyone available for video? You're like,
yeah, and it's like, if anything, like, and it's nothing against photography, but I think the video aspect is pretty freaking expensive.
Oh,
and,
it's so much.
Photography is really bad too, like as far as expensive lenses and cameras go. But
look at how I travel versus how you travel. I can travel to you with a backpack. You come into me for a wedding and you've got cases, because
cases that you can lose at the airport.
Like when you're when you're budgeting, you're a bride and you're budgeting for your media and you want photo and video, put that higher budget towards your video. Like, because you're going to you might print an album with like 80 to 100 pictures in it. You might hang 5 or 6 on your wall. I mean, we're in that digital age, and, you know, with digital cameras, you're getting thousands of photos. All these brides that I've delivered thousands of photos for, 6 months down the road, they haven't even looked through them because it's too much. They're too overwhelmed. So I started delivering like 250 because it's like enough for an album. It's enough to tell the whole day. But it's just so much more of your day captured in video, and it's worth putting your budget there.
I'll tell a story right here. So my mom passed away from breast cancer when I was 5 years old, and I had never heard her voice before. I just don't remember it. From 5 all the way till I was 28, which is the first time that my father actually found the video, their wedding video, as well as her celebration of life at Kohala High School. That was the first time in 23 years, or 23, 24, that I actually heard my mom's voice.
Wow.
So when I saw her on wedding video, even though it was filmed on something that shot at 480p, it was still really beautiful to me.
Yeah.
So like Journey said, video captures, and like we touched upon, video captures that day. My father found a video. It's actually a VHS, and he had it digitized at Walmart into a Blu-ray disc. And somebody with a 720p handheld camcorder had captured her voice that day, and I had never heard it before. And she gave a speech. She just got off of chemo. Her hair just grew back. She was in remission. And she was still kind of weak, but she got up on stage and gave a speech anyway. And that was the first time I heard her voice. Me and my dad started crying together. And it was the first time I ever heard that in my life. So that's, if you're looking at an extreme example of why video is so powerful, you're looking to have a budget to hire the right people to do the right job and do you right, and make sure that it gets delivered right.
Yeah. Nobody wants to think that, like, I need this video because when so-and-so passes away, because you don't want to think of that doom. But
that's
in
like
reality, that's when it's important, and that's when people look back, oh my gosh, I wish I would have had a videographer, I wish I would have had a video.
I
and
wish
then
I
it's
wish,
too late.
I wish, right?
So just do it.
Yeah, and what I always tell couples is, me and my dad aren't very close. My dad was really a alcoholic and a very mean person to my family growing up. I love my dad, but we're not really close. I wish we were close, but we're not. When me and my wife got married 6 years ago, it was the first time my dad doesn't show up to a lot of things. So, like, he didn't show up to my football games or like my fights a whole lot. But he showed up to my wedding, and we did a luau. And that's, we put a pig in the ground, and that was when he passed on his rocks to me. And like, we hung out, played guitar, and I was like, man, I'm actually hanging out with my dad. It was like really awesome. It's gonna make me emotional. Sorry. I love talking about this because I wish I had more connection with my dad. And with my wedding, if I had more video of him, man, it'd be cool. So yeah, get a video.
Because of those emotional moments, those once in a lifetime moments. They only happen once. And it's definitely a special thing to capture. Look how emotional big homie is getting. I got emotional too. Trying to hold it back and talking about my mom is something I never do on a podcast. But it's something that I do speak about and feel open to speak about.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and I'm not afraid to cry. I don't give a shit. It's emotional, man. Like,
it's real.
It's real, man. And I want people to know, like, I wish people could get more footage of like just them and their families. And like, my daughter was 2, and like, I remember when my daughter was 2. My daughter's 8 now. I can barely pick her up. I mean, you told me to pick her up earlier today. I could barely pick her up. And if I had more footage of like me and her when she was little, man, those moments are priceless.
It grows so fast. My oldest is turning 17 in 2 weeks, and it's just like,
I still can't believe you have a 17-year-old.
I'm so old. Is the lights picking up my silver hairs here?
I can zoom in for you.
Oh no.
I'm still single.
Hit them up, ladies.
That's Kekai.
Look me up on Instagram. If you don't book me for your wedding, you can book me somewhere else.
Book him as your groom.
Yeah. All right, guys. I want to wrap this up just because we're almost at an hour and a half. That was pretty good for our first episode, guys.
Yeah.
I just wanted to thank you guys for being on the show. Kekai over from Kona, Hawaii with HiTicketFilms. Got Journey Love over in Cambridge, Ohio. JourneeLoveCreative. If you guys need a photographer out there, she does amazing work.
Or just book through Kaloi Filmmaking Studio, and
or
still get me.
Or just book through me. Either way, all of you guys are great.
At Kaloi Filmmaking Studio, Beyond the Gloves podcast. Check it out.
Yeah, thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned. If you guys have any suggestions on what to talk about for the next episode, leave it in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe, and mahalo nui. We hope.
Thank you. We'll